Welcome everybody for the early session here in the design track. Today we're going to talk about designing happy clients, and it's going to feel maybe a little, I don't know what it'll feel like. You'll have to tell me what it feels like, but in the introductions you'll hear a little bit about our point of view and where we're coming from, what we hope to share today. But we just want to lead with how grateful we are to be here in this room. It gives me chills just now thinking about it. 12 years of Denver Startup Week, and Mike and I have been in the audience off and on for over a decade, and to have our own session with you all is really a privilege for us. So we're very grateful to be here. We have to also remind you all that we're all agreeing to the code of conduct to treat everyone with respect, have an inclusive environment. We are recording currently, and you have given us, by participating, the right to film you and the questions you ask, as well as us being presenting. And they also want us to make sure to tell you to talk about it, because all these sponsors that have helped put on this great free event all week, they love to see their name on the social feed, so use the hashtag DenStartupWeek to share your love for the event, and let's keep it going for another 12 years. Our sponsor slide, presented by Amazon this year. We're very grateful for everyone, Capital One Cafe, Downtown Denver Partnership, the Dell Technologies for Startups, and the Denver Business Journal. Our track sponsors today are the Public Works, which are providing the main camera feed and our audio-video today. So we're very grateful to Public Works and Battery 621. And of course, we're in the lovely 27th floor with Green Spoon Martyr, and so grateful for them for hosting our space, so thank you. We also have another tier of sponsors. We won't go through them all. They are in the deck, so you can download and send them their thanks if you'd like. But all these people come together to make this great week happen. So we're grateful to them, and please share your love to them as well. So intros.
Yeah, let's do it. So Mike Hopkins, I'm president of Brooks Stevens. I started my career at Harley-Davidson, spent a long time there building skills and the credentials necessary to be in the design world. And this guy pulled me out of comfy corporate life to join a startup, where I realized that there's a whole lot more to this. So that led me to go off on my own and freelance, and then grow into needing to figure out how do I go from one to multiple people, and then to actually running a full-service design firm.
And one thing I really like about Mike is, so we've known each other for 20 years, and he's one of these people that's, if you ever taken StrengthsFinder, has anyone taken that? You know, he's a futurist through and through, and futurist shows up on my list as well, but since I've known this guy for 20 years, I'm like, oh no. No, I know futurists. I'm not a futurist. Mike's a futurist. So he's got this great creative mind and is always looking down the road, and it's very inspiring. So any chance I get to work with him, I choose to. I have many different pitches I can tell from my background, but we're going to focus on startups today. So I won a business plan competition as an undergraduate, and so I started my career as an entrepreneur. And I've always been in startups ever since. Employee number 2 twice, employee number 9 once. So my heart is with everyone in the room and your journey. I want to see you all succeed, and startups are really a part of my narrative. I'm also an adjunct professor in the MBA program at the University of Denver and teach leadership. So a leadership professor coming to talk about design and market strategy. Very, very diverse set of skills. And then I also volunteered to mentor entrepreneurs in the state of Iowa through my alma mater, the University of Iowa. So today we're really going to be about serving you. We're not here to sell you anything. We just want to help you and want you to succeed.
Yeah, don't let him fool you either. He'll say he's not a designer, but he's absolutely a designer. One thing I really love about Mathias is that when I'm building teams, I'm always looking for T-shaped people, right? People who have a wide breadth of experience but are bringing some depth of some skill to the team. He's this odd person who has multiple of those depths, and they're very different. Some very soft skills, some very technical, hard skills. So he's a guy that I'm always calling when we have, something creative, like he mentioned, future. We need to understand what's possible. He's one of the first I'm calling.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I forgot to point to the QR codes over there with Green Spoon. If you scan that code and sign up, you can get in a raffle for some Broncos tickets. And right next to it is a design challenge that I had to try to solve this week, which is my business card, because I'm currently running multiple businesses. And I'm like, how do I print one card that just says, this dude's really interesting, you should talk to him. So go grab my card on the way out if you want to see me struggle through a design challenge. It's pretty much like, hey, talk to me. I'm a nice person. It's a hard problem. So that's us. for today, and we just want to reiterate, we love design. Design gives us energy. Design is what brings us most joy in the work that we do, and we also love business. So our pitch today is really going to be about where those two meet, and ultimately, we want your business to thrive, and we want your business to support your life. So we're doing a lot of talking about us right now, but for the rest of this session, we really want you to be thinking about what this means to you and how we can help you. All right. Enough of us. I'm curious to know who we have here. So if you'd be willing, if you would raise your hand if you identify as a designer. Oh, good. We found the right people. Oh, it's such a relief. OK. What flavor of design, if anyone's willing to share? Let's see where we are across the board.
Like
Industrial. Product. What else? Graphic. Software. Conversation experience. Excellent. Strategy designer. Ooh, that's a fun one. Josh. Audio designer. Yeah. Yes. Product. Software product. All right. So we're kind of all over the board, which is good because we have some examples and we're not trying to single anyone out in these examples. So if we put something up and you're like, ouch, it is really accidental, we're just trying to establish some points of view. Is anyone identify as self-employed? All right. Just over half. That's good. Hoping to be self-employed. All right, a small handful, that's great. Having a business mind, who feels like that business mind? All right, about half the room as well. Good. So that really helps us think about how we're going to share our pitch today. We're going to start pretty simple and really challenge you in some common, not really mistakes, but thinking patterns that we see, and we're going to push you into an uncomfortable place. So if we end in about 30 minutes in an uncomfortable place, we've done our job. So yeah, 30 minutes of framing content. We're going to click through 7 steps, and we'll show you those in a minute. And then we hope to leave time at the end for questions. And Mike has some stories prepped if we're feeling shy. I have no doubt that we're going to fill the hour. So I hope to hear from you along the way. There will be room for some questions. So if you feel stuck, please raise your hand. We just don't want to get too sidetracked in this first half hour. And Mike has examples prepped. And then in our deck, you can grab a QR code at the end. We have some reflection questions you can take home and think about at the end.
I also want to reinforce what Mathias says. We're not here to sell you anything. In fact, there's probably more likelihood we'll work together in some way if any of this resonates. So let's think from that perspective that I'm more likely to buy something from you than you are from me.
Yeah. Yeah, and what a great feeling that is. We've seen some other pitches that are like, I'm important, call me. And we want the opposite of that. So intro to value. This is a really fun activity. So there's real data that I found for this activity. And this should really, it might feel like a little punch in the gut. That's what we're going for. So you're walking down the street and you see this sign. We're hiring $189 an hour. Who's interested? Right? All right, good. That's the correct response. So what's $189 an hour worth to you? For this role, you need 10 weeks of training and pass a 180-question exam. Still interested? Yeah, feel pretty good? All right. How does that compare to your efforts to become a designer, to build your professional life? More than 10 weeks? Yeah, probably. And we're probably billing less than $200 an hour, right? OK. So here's the surprise. Anyone want to guess? Who wants to guess what this job is? 10 weeks of training, $200 an hour. Anyone? It's fun. All right, here's the reveal. Dog training. So this is a real, I got a puppy 6 months ago. I'd never had a puppy before, had adult dogs. And I was like, what the hell did I just do? Google dog trainers near me. And $189 an hour, and they don't even come to me. You want me to drag my dog to you and pay you $200 an hour? I have a problem with this. So it made me think, why am I not charging $189 an hour, right? What am I worth? If making this pooch pee outside is worth $200 an hour, what is my value worth? So I can't remember what bullet's coming next. Oh, yeah, it's that. Right? Why are we willing to pay $200 to make our dog not pee in the house? Because we're tired of using profanity in front of our 6-year-old, right? So the value in this, the reason why people will pay this is because ibuprofen. We are making one of their biggest pains disappear. That's the promise of the dog trainer. So the first thing we need to do as designers is to think about, what am I worth? What ibuprofen am I selling? If I can sell 3 pills for $200, what do I need to be doing in my design practice? All right, next framing question, and then we're going to get into our 7 points. So we're hoping you walk away with thinking about how do I design my service delivery around learning and connecting. We think that's the secret sauce that Mike is practicing at Brooks Stevens and that we're going to try to frame out for you so you can walk away with today. So here's another teaser question. There's actually no wrong answer. We're going to put up 2 perspectives after you think about this. They're both correct. But the question is, what has more value, you think? Being a photographer, shooting and editing photos and delivering those finished, beautiful shots, or setting the creative direction for the shoot and partnering to deliver the great visuals. So we have correct answers for both of these. Is anyone willing to express a reason why being the photographer on the site is more valuable or being the partner in the creative process is more valuable? Yes?
I would say 2, just because technology has kind of lifted number 1 up.
Sure.
As of late.
Yeah, I've got an iPhone that's taking HD video of me right now, and I have 0 skills. So yeah, great point. What else? Technology is helping us sort of reduce the value of number 1 as an argument. What other arguments can we make?
The value of storytelling.
Tell me more.
Well, people are more interested in the story than just the visual. So what does it mean?
Sure.
So you're sort of drilling down and peeling away the layers to get the meaning, purpose, and blah, 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 and conflict.
Right.
So the story is much more engaging.
Yeah, so you're saying if you're in like the creative director space, you have more ability to really shape the room, move the room, help the decision makers. All right, no one wants to bite on number 1? Why do we think yes?
I'll play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So for number 1, like if I was a client, I had a limited budget, and someone said, well, I can only shoot and edit for this amount of money, and that was my whole budget, that's going to get me my end product. So that's more important to me.
Great point. So we can facilitate a transaction for a more cost-conscious buyer. So that would be really valuable to them because they can meet their goal even though they don't have huge budget. I think that's a really good argument. I didn't write it down, but I buy it. So for number 1, I would say, if you're the most exceptional photographer in Denver, Colorado, and you can charge $10,000 for your shoot, do it. Like, there is value in being the very best. Problem is there's only like 1 of those, right? And there's a lot more of us. I don't think I'm the very best at anything. So I have to compete in number 2. Mike, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, and I would say you're probably competing with the budget as well. So you're the $10,000 photographer going against a $5,000 budget.
Yeah, or $500 budget. Yeah. And number 2, so there's high one-time value in number 1. If you're the best in the world, people will pay you because there's hype, and they want that hype. For number 2, you get to be in the conversation. So that's way more valuable because you get to actually shape the final outcome. So you shouldn't just charge your $500 shoot fee. You should charge a premium for adding this extra value. Are we making sense so far? Okay, so those were 2 framing questions to sort of set the scene for what we're going to walk through next. It's still me, right, Mike?
Still you.
Still me, all right. So it drives me crazy in these speeches where there's sometimes a gimmick. And so it's like you have to package things in a way, and like you're selling a packaged something. And we made like 4 versions of this deck, and after version 3, I was like, there's no gimmick. Like, like we're doing it wrong. So we had to come up with a gimmick. And the gimmick is we had these 7 phases or perspectives, and we decided we're both cyclists. As you shift gears, things get harder. The cogs in the cassette grow to cover more ground. So we think there's actually a decent gimmicky metaphor for the 7 things we're going to walk through. There is a process. They grow. They get harder. So we're going to step you through these. The first is knowing your strengths, reframing commodity gigs. It's a fun one for me. Offering beyond your credential. So we introduced ourselves and talked a lot about how great we are. We're going to talk about why that doesn't matter very much. Learn about their pain. Dog training, right? Learn about their goal. Learn about their gaps. And learn about their business. So these are the 7 stages we're going to walk through in probably the next 20 minutes. First up, know your strengths. Who you are as a person matters. And we have a couple of really fun metaphors for this. So when I was an undergrad, I was dating my now wife, and she was in a class, and they were learning about different personality types. And she had me take this assessment to learn about myself, and I was like, I'm very confused about these results. I seem to be like not great at anything. And she said, no, you're actually, like, if there's a solution to any challenge, you are going to find it. I'm like, what? No. And she's like, no. You are obsessed about finding out what's going on in any context. And that's a strength of yours. And I was like, I don't even see it. So she had to say it 3 times for me to finally get it, that the way I experience the world is unique to me, and that since I'm living that way, I can't recognize those strengths in myself. We need someone to tell us what our strengths are because we're just living. It's just the way we experience the world. Is that resonating? Does that make sense to you? So, IKEA. Who in the room loves to put the stuff together? No. Yes? I would expect more. We're designers, people. We have visual intelligence. Come on. Well, believe it or not, you're ruining my joke. Believe it or not, a lot of people hate it. They struggle. They don't like Lego. They don't fit pieces together in their head. Visually, not their gift. But those of us who like assembling IKEA furniture are like, yes, I want to build that $20 shelf. It's going to take me 4 hours, and it's going to be awesome, right? So that is a strength that you don't know is a strength. It's just the way you operate. So let's think about the clownfish here. What's unique about a clownfish? Who's our biologist in the room? Yes?
They don't get stung by the...
Yes. Yes, those things. What are those called? See, yes. That's why we put that picture up, to struggle.
Not my strength words,
Yeah.
not my strength.
Anemones. Yeah, the clownfish is not stung by the anemone. It also can breathe underwater, which is freaking awesome. So this clownfish does not really feel any different than the rest of its school, right? All of its friends are also not being stung by the anemones. But when you look at the other species that are swimming around, they are terrified of the anemones. So know your strengths, and that's what's going to add value to your clients. What you do naturally is what someone else has a pain, and that's where you get money. That's where you get value. We with me?
This is an infinite continuum. You never actually achieve it. So even when you start to understand it, it just keeps going. So.
Yeah. Ugh, I'm getting better every day. That's all I can say. Next up, reframe commodity gigs. And this is a fun business word, so I get to look smart. But we're just having the wrong conversation. So let me tell you what we mean by commodity gigs. So commodity skills or gigs or commodity items, commodity goods, are things that can be bought and sold with complete equity. So corn, beans, no matter how you grow it, no matter how much love you put into your field, if you're selling a bushel of corn, it will be sold in the market as any other bushel of corn. So they're equal exchanges, equal substitutes. So in the vending machine example here, a Twix is a Twix is a Twix, whether you buy 500 from Costco or one down the hall because you're starving, right? Commodity. Make sense? So we like to use the vending machine metaphor because when we're having these vending machine conversations, we're showing up and we're saying, these are my skills. Do you want some skills? Right? Like, look at all my skills. I have some purple skills and some crunchy skills. Buy some of them.
I even have some salty skills.
Some salty skills. Yeah, Mike's very salty. So we're trying to help you think about, like, when are you showing up in this way? That you're like, I can do graphic design. Buy some graphic design. How can we help you think beyond the vending machine to think about what that graphic design brings to your customer? The scary thing about selling like a vending machine is that we force the conversation to be about price. Because if I can get a Twix anywhere, if I have the time, I'm going to go find a less expensive Twix. Whether you're buying Twix or graphic design or a car, right? So this is a very scary situation we find ourselves in. And how many can relate to the call starts that way? When someone reaches out, yes, right? So we are automatically needing to be on guard to figure out how to reframe that conversation. The other key point about the vending machine is someone will always be cheaper than you. Even if you think you're super affordable, there's going to be someone to do it cheaper. Fiverr, UpWork, right? We're losing our market to the globe. So we need to stop selling in that market. We need to sell in a different market. All right, still me. Offer beyond your credentials. So credibility matters, but only a little bit. Here's my metaphor. Help me find an eye doctor. I'm not the only 4 eyes in the room, so I think some of us can relate. How many people in Denver you think are qualified to give me an eye exam that can turn into a prescription? Just ballpark.
10,000.
Yes,
Wow.
So not little, a lot, right? I can go to anyone. Commodity, right? Commodity service. How do they compete? When you go to the optometrist, how do you choose an optometrist? What are some of the things you look for? Insurance, yes. So it's going to be cheaper for me. What else? Referral. Oh, I heard they're good, right? What else?
Nearby my house.
Location, yep. When you get there, what's that like? Yep. Yeah, who would think that the admin staff at the front are like one of the major indicators of whether or not you're going to come back? They don't have a doctorate degree. They're not an OD. They're someone who understands billing and smiling. So when we go to the optometrist's office, it's about the lobby. It's about how it feels. We might get a referral, but once we go there, we're going to reflect on what it was like to be there. What's that experience? When do they mention price at the eye doctor? In the mail. Yeah. Exactly. Later. At the end, right? Do you ever sell to a client where you're like, I'll tell you about it in a month? Yeah, we'll set up terms and I'll send you to collections, but it'll be fine. No, they mention it at the end. That's weird. That's weird, right? Have you ever met an optometrist who offers a free trial? Yeah, come in. I'll just do you the thing with the 1 and 2 and tell your friends. No. So why do we do that? We're professionals. We should be asking people to pay us for our efforts up front the first time we meet them. Now, there are other ways, you might not want to take my advice there. You might want to offer a free consult. You might want to offer a portfolio review, something. I'm not saying it's the only way forward, but I just want you to think about, I've never had a free eye exam. All right. So your credential qualifies you to do the work. You all went to some sort of design process to have the skill you have, and that's great. It gets you in the door. But if we only talk about our credential, we're not different. Our work is what's different. Our experience is what's different. That's what we need to sell. Anything?
You're good.
Sweet. All right, learn about their pain. Shit, we're done. Sorry. All right. So remember, ibuprofen and dog training, right? We're thinking about their pain. What's terrible about this situation, and how can I help? That's what we think about the pain. Now we're into learning about their goal. So it's bigger than task completion. Again, we're kind of stuck in this please do this thing for me. It'll be about this much, and now I'm done. And that's it. It's a very flat relationship. So we want to think bigger than the task completion. And we came up with this because Topo Chico hard seltzers everywhere at DSW this week. So we're like, how can we tie into this, this new product that's on the market? So if pain is a motivator, ambition is another one. We don't just have to focus on what's terrible. We can also focus on what you want. What do you want to see? Where are you going? How do I fit into that? How can I help you get there? More energy, less negativity. So let's think about an ambition. So let's say that Topo Chico reaches out to you because they've got this new product coming out, and they're like, please give me a bid for the can and the packaging design. New product, we want to stand out on the shelf. Let me know if you can do it. Give me an estimate. So they're asking for commodity work, right? You have design skills? I want your design skills. So I can't remember what bullet's next. So we have some questions we could ask. If someone's like, hey, do this for me, we don't have to just be like, that'll be $500 and move on. We can say, what do you hope to achieve with this? Let's start learning. How do you think this design will help you? We could say, why do you think this is a good idea? Why do you think it'll work? And by asking these questions, we're sort of building out a story that we can start to relate to and think through. So what do you think their goal is for this Topo Chico can design? New product. What's their goal?
Sell a lot of cans.
Sell a lot of cans. Yes. What else?
Stand out on the shelf.
Stand out. Be different. Be unique. What else? Ultimately, they asked for package design, but they need a successful product launch. All right? So sell a lot of cans is a version of that for sure. But really, we want to make sure that if this is as good an idea as they think it is, that we prove it. That how can we partner with them to make sure that we sell a lot of this hard seltzer and that we support the Topo Chico brand? So, I need to design a can, but no, I need to be a part of a successful product launch. Different, right? Yes, did we have a question?
Yeah, I was just about to mention, we're using a simple example of came to you for a commodity and clearly you're trying to make it bigger. It seems very obvious of, yeah, that makes sense that that's what you'd want to do, but how? right? This example has been sterilized down, but all of us have these things that we know consistently our work feeds into, right? We have inputs that come to us that make our work better. We have outputs that somebody is taking from our work that we consistently connect to. And this is kind of the mindset we're trying to create, is that we can see down the road of what they're going to do with this. It's not just, I need the logo. It's like, you're thinking of something. You're going to do something with it. It could be this new product launch. It could be because you're about to launch a new website. Like, I got a friend who does websites. Like, there's these things that you can start to anticipate.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much time to segue to you, Mike.
Okay. So learning about gaps. Do you want to?
I'll click for you.
Okay. So
Go to that blue mark.
okay, sounds
There you
great.
go.
So one thing that I've discovered is that we're a full-service design firm, and nobody ever believes that you can do everything, which is true. So we don't even try to market it. So we lean into this. Most organizations aren't good at everything, and we're not. But when we get together, we can merge these together. So I have an example.
Sorry, I switched the order of these last night.
Oh,
We're
you
going to
did.
start with the Slinky.
Okay, so a lot of times when we're anticipating this stretch of where our commodity work is now going to add more value upstream and downstream, we're going to be looking both directions. So you may have entered, you've called me because we're good at industrial design, but we're going to look, okay, how did you get here and where you're going right away. We're also we're looking at the type of work we do and how deep we can take that. So you may have had an idea of a budget for that commodity work. We're not trying to stretch your budget. We're trying to make sure that you're spending it accurately. So that could be, okay, you had a higher budget. We can get you more than you were expecting, or you don't actually need to spend as much to get that. And that preserves for other outcome-based results that would actually favor our success. So I have a quick little example, I think, is next.
Yeah, we just want to hit on this topic, though. So our Slinky metaphor goes both ways. So we're looking up and downstream, and we're going to click through that next, but also depth-wise. So if you are doing a ton of work in one area, like that's depth, and the Slinky will expand. And so our question to you is, what happens when you become in really high demand? So Elizabeth had a viral video, and all of a sudden her phone started ringing, right? What does she do? Well, she actually told a story about this yesterday. One, she could turn it down, and she could say, like, no, I'm full. Or she could say, yeah, it's worth it for 20 grand. I'll do it for 20 grand, so you can increase your price. You can work overtime, say, this is my problem. I'm going to solve it, brute force it. A lot of us do that. Phone a friend. Hey, Jamie, I just got like 3 times more work than I can do. Can you help me out 10 hours a week? Yes, hopefully. Or the last-ditch effort is for you to scale your staff and hire. And why do you think that's last in our queue? Why should we think about hiring last?
You gotta build to that.
Yep,
Yeah, you're better off.
yep.
You have to be masterful at it yourself before you delegate it.
That's part of it too, yep.
It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yes.
That's a key point of it. The challenge becomes is that now I have to find more work every single time. So if it's twice every time, now I have to continue that pace. Which
So if your Slinky, your spring toy, they didn't sponsor us, if your spring toy has stretched out because you're really popular, it's going to whip back, right? And now this person that you just brought into your life is going to be real disappointed. Or you are, because you're going to keep paying them because you feel bad, and your business isn't going to be profitable. So the Slinky moves both directions. You're going to have peaks in demand, and you need to manage that. And then you're also going to want to dip into other services.
Yeah, and I'd just like to reinforce that. Like the industries we're in, particularly with a lot of designers in the room, this is a peaky industry, right? Filled with peaks and valleys. You have projects, they get really heavy, they get intense. You're excited because you're doing really great work, and then the project ends, and you have nothing, and then the stress level goes way up. You're trying to figure out what's going to happen, and just to be a bit vulnerable here, we go through that all the time, right? Like we've gone through we've been in business for almost 90 years. Like we've gone up and down. We've been really big. We've been really small. So it's really important to be strategic with how you do this people growth thing.
All right, so now there's the slide that
Yeah.
I'm sorry I changed on you.
Oh man, changing my order. But no, this is really what I was getting to, is that a lot of times people are coming to us for this specific skill. They know we're really great at industrial design. That's what they want. They do a lot of these other things, and and they may have a gap on their team. That could be just a capacity gap. It could be a skill gap. We don't know, but this is how they're entering. We're not trying to like pitch them some other way. They're right in coming to us in the first place and having the conversation. But as we're having this conversation, we're trying to understand, how did you get here, right? Because typically there's some type of concept development that has happened. That could be ideation, that could be a lot of different inputs. It could just be they have an existing product and they're like, I just need a new one. I want you to, sketch me some things up. And I have some examples of this that are really specific later. But so we'll start to anticipate that and potentially grow the scope, which would be more business for us. But really, it's increasing value. It makes the job they thought they were getting in industrial design actually way more efficient if we have good input, concept work going into it. Next, they're usually going to do something with it. Like, are they putting this into a pitch deck to get buy-in from the rest of the organization? Are they going to go prototype this to evaluate it before they send it off to engineering? We don't know, but we can usually anticipate that they're going to do something with the work. It's not just going to die on the vine.
And it's hard to tell here because of the screen, but there's shading. So we're going from blue to purple. And tell us what the purple means.
Great question. What does the purple mean?
We
So the purple is potentially, no, I'm just teasing him. So I'm going to give him so much crap for changing my slides after this. So. But no, the purple is interesting because it's like we have our core, which is the darker colors, but as it gets lighter, this is where we're starting to dial up friends or experts. One of the superpowers we've learned in here is that, like, not only do we not try to say we do everything, we deliberately don't do everything. So there's certain things where we understand in scope where we look way smarter when we're like, I know the person who knows how to do this, and we're going to bring them in to help. It absolutely changes our relationships with our clients when we're bringing these experts in. So as we start to pop more of these in, where you start to see this lighter color, like we do some level of prototyping at our firm, but if there's certain elements or certain skills, like there's plenty of 3D printing companies that are out there. We'll use them as experts, or if we need to have something actually fabbed up. Like we're capable of doing it, but we'll use a machine shop to make functional components and don't try to fake it.
And if you're a small firm and you just have a couple people and you're working as friends, if you're booked and someone needs a service that you can do, this is a great opportunity to bring in another friend. And so you're scaling your service offerings by actually being full, right? So I'm stepping out into another service area that I'm most comfortable with, but I know somebody who I really trust, and now I'm helping you, right? It's an opportunity for you because you get to bill their time, but it's also adding value to them. So that's why we want you to be slinky in both directions. Take on work and then share the work.
And what we found is this then continues to extend. So it could be in this original scope of work that they came to us for, but more typically it's happening with continued engagement with the client because we've served them well, that they're realizing like, wow, we'd be much smarter if we brought you in early. So that's where it starts to come in where you end up really early into ideation, or maybe you're even into market analysis. They haven't even thought about a project yet, but they're starting to say, what would success look like? That's really great for us because it makes the whole program go so much faster. And then if we are in the beginning, it also makes sense to bring us back from an accountability standpoint at the end to say, hey, you said this was the persona and what the market should be. You designed to that. Now we're selling to this market. Like, it better hit, right? And now we've gone from, we're an industrial design firm to we're actually a business partner.
Yeah. So you're seeing how we're all downstream from someone in design and we're all upstream to someone else. So look across and look at those gaps. And not every organization is great. So how can you pull from your network, pull from this room, pull from your resource to go fill that gap? They will appreciate it, and it doesn't have to feel gross. It doesn't have to feel salesy if you're there to help. And that's what we want you to do, is go help.
The other thing I want to reinforce just before you switch there is that by no means am I suggesting you try to fake this. Like, you've heard the term fake it till you make it. Now, don't do that. No, seriously, I mean, I think there's certain things where you're going to have a little bit of self-doubt. We started with that, right? Like, I don't know if my skills are great enough. Your skills probably are great enough and you can make the leap. That's not faking it. But if you don't actually offer this, it's bring that expert in. That's very useful to the outcome of your program and your relationship. So definitely do that.
We have one step left in our 7-gear gimmick. So are there any questions or discomfort in the room that we can address right now? We got two, one here and one here. Start here.
Yeah, how do you have that conversation with the client? Because we do experiential marketing, and it provides a great platform for like social media or, secondary offerings. So how do you get to bring in those secondary offerings, or what's like that conversation like?
It's interesting. So in prepping for this talk and our anti-sales pitch, I also attend a bunch of the sales pitches, and it's some of the questions that you'd normally ask in like a discovery phase of a sales process of just like, why are you even doing this program, right? Like you can start getting these things out, right, where it actually opens the door to be asking. So simply if I start with the base entry of I want some industrial design, what does that mean? Okay, what's the deliverable you're looking for? Oh, I want some 2D sketches and maybe some 3D surface, that I can 3D print so I can, hold it in my hand. Like, okay, well, where'd you come up with these ideas? Is the door opening? Be like, oh, we did an ideation session. Oh, cool. What did you guys cover? Did you take any notes in that? And so you're doing it to the client is feeling like, oh, I'm just gathering all the info. But if you start to say like, ask questions and they're like, oh, we don't really know. Like, oh, it might be worth us, revisiting that. And what I'm trying to do is not solve it in every conversation. It's just lead to that next conversation, right? Let's close this conversation and open this new conversation. And we're building on it, not expecting to do that right in that discovery meeting or maybe you're later in the process and you're actually contracting. You're realizing that like, okay, there's no doubt there's times where I'm taking the work and it's like, yep, I'm gonna deliver you the 2D sketches, but I know we're gonna end up, looping back because you're gonna discover something. But we're not trying to do that as our business model. We're trying to do the right thing at the right time.
So if you start really curious, sometimes it looks like, oh, we got this from the marketing team. So, oh, who was that? Oh, it was Jan. All right, can I get a call with Jan? Can I learn more about that process? So you can start to learn more. The other thing is, to Mike's point about how some people might not try to solve the problem. They might wait for the mistake. I think the more upfront we can be curious and show them that we care about their deliverable, the more they're going to be willing to share with us. And when that problem does come out, because we can anticipate it, that we're ready. It's like they're not just thinking about our design skills anymore. They're thinking about like, oh, geez, I hadn't thought of that. They have a really interesting perspective. We should get them on the call. And that is what sort of feeds to these broader opportunities. Sorry.
I was going to say, just to finish the thought, there's our business model has been in this as well, where when we're selling industrial design service or a skill, we know that like having that client reoccurring work is actually attractive business, and it's actually what's expected, right? Like our client came to us expecting that they're going to get this work, they're going to get the skill, there's going to be rework, and they're more than willing to pay for that work. What I'm trying to project here is that like there's actually way more value for your business broadening that out, right? Like actually doing less of this and doing more of this is actually way, way more favorable in the long term for your business.
Thank you.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Kind of a follow-up to that question was, I'm just curious, so you're working with a client and they want you to do a prototype and it's not in your zone of genius, you could outsource that to someone who could do a much better job. I'm just curious from a business model standpoint, do you bake that price? Like, how does the pricing work? Are you contracting these people out? How is your business getting paid? How does,
Yeah, it's case by case. So I'll to get really specific, it depends, right? But usually I'm working with the client's budget and understanding where the value in the overall program is. So sometimes we'll just do it as a pass-through expense. We've even done it where we're just making the connection. So if it's literally something like a 3D printing bureau, like you've heard of like Xometry or some of these online quoting tools, like a lot of times it's like, well, it doesn't really matter who sends it to the tool. Like you're gonna get the quote, the part is gonna be the part. A lot of times we'll just do that as a pass-through and we'll just, the work we're managing. But we will bill them for the facilitation, like as a partner, the work we're actually doing to, coordinate, pull it together, actually, conduct a build if that's what we're doing. That part will be within our scope, that will certainly be part of the expenses. But yeah, when it comes down to some of those tactics, it's kind of a choice depending on what kind of business risk we're taking. So if it is a big financial outlay and we're paying for it, a lot of times we will have a markup just because we're covering the cost of that. And if we didn't get paid, that would be a challenge. But typically, it's yeah, we just keep it reasonable.
Yeah,
And just partner with these other experts.
And case by case, I think a good challenge to us in the room, especially as solopreneurs, beginning entrepreneurs, is what would it take for you to feel comfortable making money off your friend's time? And that doesn't have to feel gross. But if you give someone a job, you are entitled to the fact that that job exists, and you are responsible for the quality of their work. So there is value in that. I was very bad at that for a really long time. And so I don't fault you if you're very uncomfortable with that. So choose what makes sense to you. There are services that we just want to say, like, just being involved in this project is valuable enough for me. I don't need to make money off your partnership. But there are other gigs where it's like, I found a specialized skill that they need. I'm saving them time and money. They're not recruiting anyone. I have confidence in their deliverable. I bill my same rate. They're asking below that. You should keep that margin. You should feel comfortable making money off your employees, even if they're your friends, because that's what business is. So you should be rewarded for finding bigger projects with more expertise requirements, and you should be able to take a cut. It's uncomfortable as hell at first, but you'll realize that it's mutually beneficial. Hook your friends up, and you take a little bit of that, even if it's $10 an hour, right? It's just a little something to remind you that you're helping them. Good? All right, gear 7. Learn about their business. I can't remember whose slide this is.
I can go with it.
Go for
so, we talk about like, okay, now we're starting to have these broader conversations. It's starting to open up the ability to start getting deeper into why are they even trying to do this, right? We talked about goals. We talked about the input-output work. But really, like, it starts the conversation of what else are you doing? How does it connect? What it really is the outcome that you're shooting for, and what are the benefits going to be of this, right? Like it could be a personal relationship with whoever your decision maker is that you're working with, but it could also be a broader team or the people they're reporting to. So I don't know if you want to dive into the bullets, but
Sure, yeah. So we just talked about gaps, looking up and down river, right? Who's ahead of you, who's behind you? Where are those capabilities? Are they weak? Could you do the job more efficiently if you had more input in the creative process? So looking for the gaps. So now don't stop there and be like, look at this gap. Look how terrible your design team is. Your creative department didn't give me anything. Your requirements are awful, right? We can't do that. That's not serving anyone. That's just making your ego grow. So we want to facilitate helping them see it. Because a lot of times they don't see it. They're just in it. Remember the clownfish, like your strengths? Well, we also sort of become accustomed to our environment. Oh yeah, they're always behind. Oh, that's not surprising. Like you get shrugs and eye rolls and like, yeah, tell me something new, right? That's also not solving the problem, guys. So we want to find a way to show where a gap is and then help them see it, because since you're ahead of them, you have a nice solution ready for them. So this is a great opportunity for you to say, look, if we did this, you would get 100% payback. So real life, mini story. I was in a very slow moving organization, very risk averse, and there was an operations team that was literally running their entire department in Excel. Very high risk, huge, millions and millions of dollars going through Excel formulas. Like that was their engine. And a person told me, like, we are a fat finger away from like really upsetting someone, right? If I just put the wrong value in this cell 30 tabs over, what we're going to pay out is going to be a real problem. So we looked at this and it was like, what could we do to take this out of Excel and put it in a proper enterprise system? Could we design that system? Yeah, we could. So we bid out a $1.5 million project, and we were projected between the cost savings and the extra work we could bring in that they would get $4 million back in the first year over year. So year one, you're up 350% on this investment. Would you take it? Yes.
All day, every day.
Year two, infinity % growth because you have no costs, right? So what did they do?
They didn't do it.
Nothing. And so we see these opportunities all the time. But the fact that you can be in the conversation and showing them and helping them see, you give them the opportunity to say yes. But when they do, it's win for everyone. We get a lot of great work. It's very satisfying. You profit huge, like you, the client. And when you're in that mentality of I'm here to help you be insanely successful, guess who gets called back? No, these guys, you guys. So year 7's hard because it's like, I didn't go to business school. You in your suit up there, stop talking, all right? Like, I get it. But this is where real value is. We're going way beyond designing a solution, and we're getting into anticipating risk in the organization and solving it for them. It's very cool when it works. All right, so see the opportunity. How does the gap impact the goal? What would better look like? What would it take to implement? We just talked about all those questions. Do we have another one? Show that you're thoughtful and be a partner for their success. That's ultimately where we want everyone to go. Because when you do, you're not flying commercial anymore.
Yeah, and I think Mathias's example really hits. You see another Topo Chico that we're going to talk through here, but it's really that when they're successful with that initial campaign, they connect that success to you as well, and so it leads to, hey, we remember that. Now we want to bring you in the next one, and that's the measure I'm using. I'm not up here trying to say like, oh, all our clients behave this way. It's literally the goal to get them there, but they're not all there. But when we're getting it is when the client is giving me that feedback to be like, I don't even know why we're doing this anymore. Like, we're just going to have you do this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
You're the
I know
department
we're
now.
doing- Yeah, and then they stop doing the work. That's when we've really met this.
So our metaphor here is a play on when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? And so when life gives you lemons, make a lemon spritzer and add
Use
some
Topo
herbs
Chico.
and keep Topo Chico, yeah. So keep with the family brand. So in review, and then we have 10 minutes left, which is awesome. So in review, think like a clownfish, right? Know your strengths. Don't be a vending machine, right? What's that about? Commodity gigs. Stop commodifying your skills. Offer beyond your credentials. So remember the eye exam. Like, just because you're an OD, doesn't actually give you an advantage. So stop selling your credentials. You need to show them, like, I am certified to do this work, but you don't have to sell it. It's not that valuable. Learn about their pain. Remember the dog trainer who's making more than us, bastards. Learn about their goal. So think about the hard seltzer product launch, right? It's not a can in a box. It's an entire new product line. We want to be a part of that success. We want to share that success with you. Think about their gaps. So the spring toy. We're growing when our demand increases. We're raising our prices, and then it's going to slap back, and we're going to have a problem. And look horizontally to reduce that risk. And then learn about their business. Think lemon spritzers, right? If you get some lemons, make something delicious, and put a little unique spin on it. So that's the 7 gears. We have a reflection, and then Mike.
Yep.
So photography. Do you still want to shoot and edit photos? I'm not saying you're wrong if you do. But can you imagine yourself providing more value than that? Like, even if you're not ready to take that step today, can you see it in your head and heart? That's what we're hoping. Freestyle storytelling, but
Yep.
I kind of feel like we should wrap first and then come back to this.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Skip, ignore.
Oh, you didn't see that.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. All right. So our challenge here, and this is my least sexy slide in the whole deck, and I just had to be okay with it, but I'm really not proud of it. So my question for you is, and the text is really little, but I want you to reflect on where you are in this sort of growth stage. So level 1 is I'm an expert. I have these skills. I love doing the work. Call me because I'm an expert. Please call me, right? Level 2 is still in the putting yourself out there zone. You're an enabler. So your Slinky has expanded. You're having more demand. You're ready to phone a friend. So you're ready to collaborate. That's important to you. Step 3 is you're a director. So now you're having more and more work, and you're doing less and less work. You're simply calling your friends in, you're building a team, and you're kind of out of your expert zone. And step 4 is you're a partner in the business. So I want you to just think right now, and I want you to pick one because we're going to raise hands. So I want you to think about where you are right now. Are you an expert? Please call me. Are you an enabler? I'd like to work with you. Are you a director? I need all this work done. Or are you a partner? I want to make you successful. All right, so let's see. Who are our experts? Who's willing to say, I'm great at the work, please call me? Great, look around, because all the rest of you need to call them. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Experts are the most valuable people in this list right now, because everyone else needs them. Okay? Who are my enablers? Yes, build your team, do it. Yes, you see your experts, they're your friends now. Oh no, go back. Back, I said. Who are my directors? I'm out of the work and I'm coordinating, all right? So you experts, are you seeing these people? They're your new friends too, it goes both ways. And who are our business partners? I love it. Okay, cool. Great, so take that with you, network with these people, make each other money. Okay, so we're offering support. We're not selling anything, remember? We're just here to help you. So we're not BSing you here. You can download this presentation. There's a QR code on the desk right there. You can join our networks. We are on the
Please.
LinkedIns. I'm not on any other socials, but Elizabeth is going to change me on that. We are offering, if you're like, I get it, but I'm not there, if you just want to hang out with us, we'll schedule private sessions. Free. Just take it. All right? If there's a couple of you that are like, let's work through this together, I want your opinion, let's form a little group. If that comes out of this, we'll do it. If anyone wants work, we have portfolio projects that are like not going anywhere because we have design needs too. A Denver studio? Should we open a Denver studio? We're only in Milwaukee right now. Should we open one here? Do you want to be a part of our company?
I live here.
Yeah. So we're interested in that.
This list is, and like, this is what we came up with, but hopefully what we're articulating is we're open at whatever you guys want. We're not, there's no secret codes, there's no like discounts. It's just like, just talk to us and we'll talk back.
Yeah, if you scan the QR code, you don't have to enter your email. You just get a PDF.
You just get it.
Like weird. We're not salespeople. We're business people. So yeah, we just want to help you. We want you to succeed because we love what you do. And we love helping you. So that's it. And we can go to questions and storytelling. We have 6 minutes.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yes, Jason.
So I have a great non-pitching, because I totally want to use your services. My question is, do you guys have any way to offset some of the C-suite dysfunction that seems to be occurring? I've experienced it oftentimes where you develop a relationship and then a new CEO kind of comes in and that culture, and then they kind of pee on everything and do their thing, and then what you were striving for is now no longer really valid or valuable to that person or that entity, and it's in the C-suite area, right? What do you do to offset that? Like, you can show your value, but the new incoming resource has got their agenda.
Yeah.
And how do you really pitch that, knowing and just be strategic about that could happen, right? It really could happen.
Yeah. That's why the $1.5 million project didn't get funded. It was already approved. There was a corporate sponsor. We had all the buy-in, but then org change and new CEO, new vision, new jersey color, all the whatever crap they put out. So it just died, and that just happens sometimes. But I think if you get back to understanding what they care about and helping them see where it fits into what they care about, that's what I've found to be the most successful. It's like, hey, this still matters. I know we're going in a new direction. Here's how it fits.
Yeah. As you can imagine, we've gone through this a lot, right? We've been in business for a very long time, so we've had these relationships happen. It's not the answer that everybody's going to want to hear, but sometimes you do have to take the long-term perspective on it, where it's you make the attempt to say, objectify it, to say, hey, this wasn't just a subjective pet project. This was really important to the business needs, and here's how it connected. Sometimes you can still get cut because an executive just has a different vision and they just don't like you. Like that does happen. And what we found, we've had clients where our first relationship was back in the 50s, and we've gone through phases where we'll go 5+ years with no work with them. But what we found is things change and we come back. So we keep the connection, we don't take it personally, we continue the conversation, but it's sort of a reality. What I found is, figure out like a lot of this step one of knowing kind of what you offer and what your strengths are. You shift into that. So what may not be a good fit anymore, there is definitely somebody else where you're a perfect fit for and they're looking for you. So
yeah.
Could I add to that real quick? When it's the CEO, it's tough because I used to sell 401ks, long sales cycle. Once you've got it, you really want to hold it. I had lost a CEO once. I think all you can do in that scenario is go in and tell them they're screwing up and just really be forceful with, because you've already lost it, right? So you have nothing to lose, yeah. But I worked with CFOs, and I lost a CFO once too, because she moved on, and I hadn't moved myself throughout the organization.
Yeah.
And the person they promoted was her number 2, a person I walked past every time I went in there.
Yeah.
I could have easily built that relationship. Number 2 wanted to start all over. I lost that deal. And just because I didn't expand myself throughout the organization, I had one contact.
Yeah, there's a lot that's not in our control, right? And so I think an underlying thread through all of this, if we go all the way back to the clownfish, is know you and you be you. So I am never going to go in and hard sell because that isn't who I am. I'm going to show up as this person that you see, and I'm going to try to show you how I can help you, and that works. That's the only way it works for me. So I think when you're in that situation, you're going to lose some, and I don't even like win and lose. Like it's just like sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes it does. But I think if you are living through who you are all the time, there's never a loss, right? It's just a different ending than we thought. What else is out there? We have 3 prepared cases, but I think questions are more fun. Yes?
Have you ever fired a client and why?
Oh yeah, Mike. Is that one of your cases?
Yeah.
Going from no to yes?
Saying no to get to yes. So this, I actually sanitized this so that I didn't put, because they're actually an active client. And what we did is they came to us with a kind of traditional scope of work, like competitive scope of work is how I would define it, right? So it's very commodity kind of positioning, like we want this done, we're gonna quote it with 5 other firms. It's like, okay, that's great. Like, so going through my normal kind of questioning process, like I prescribed, I started to realize that like, they're not gonna be successful with this scope of work. So I didn't quite completely no quote it. What I did is I quoted what I think they did. Fortunately, it's like a lot more than their budget, but we stuck to it. We're like, this is like, if you're going to be successful, like this is what we're going to do. I'm not just going to take this work and watch you guys fail. So we didn't get the work. They went with another firm, and it was like, okay, well, that sucks, but I'll keep trying this new method and see if it happens. And I was fortunate enough that the CEO of this company was humble and realized his mistake. He came back and was like, yeah, you weren't wrong, and now we'd like to work with you. And we got way more work because of it. So I think we're starting to see that more and more. It's super hard to do, right? Like it's, especially like we broke a model where, I used to call it the rent an engineer model, where it was like they'd call us up, they just want hours with an engineer, and we let them have it. And we had individuals who would be at a client full time for 3 years. And it was like, that is not kind of what the value we offer is. So shifting these things to like, I really want to know what you're trying to accomplish. How do we help? How do we define the scope to match that? Then it creates this kind of perpetuity of work with the client.
Did that answer your question? Satisfactorily? Shrug? Close-ish? All right.
Yeah, if you want to talk more, I also have one where we were going to fire the client, and they ended up firing us first, which was awesome. Honestly, it was. It avoided a whole lot of conflict, and it made us look great.
So we are officially exactly at time. So I want to be respectful to reset the room, but we will hang out. We'll clear our technology, and we'll hang out if you want to chat more. And then if we really want to keep chatting, we can go down to the lobby so we don't interrupt the next session. But thank you for hearing us out.